That's great. So thank you, obviously, for choosing us to study this course. So welcome
Thank
to
you.
University. Now, in today's induction, what I'm looking at doing is basically covering a couple of things. One is a course overview. I'm going to show you the units. I'm going to discuss with you briefly an overview of the units and also tell you how the whole course is laid out, because there are some pathways in the course. And I saw your CV that you're the head of marketing for a bank. So you might want to look at specializing towards strategic marketing management rather
Yes,
than just the
definitely.
generic one. So we'll discuss that. Then I'm also going to show you some systems. So obviously there are systems like, or sites or systems as we call it. You'll probably be looking at the UK Versity website. Moodle is the learner management system. You would use Zoom, and to a certain extent, you would also use our YouTube channel.
Okay.
These would be the journal systems. And if I say you could also install and have Moodle as an app on your Android oblique, your Windows PC.
Amazing.
So that allows you to take the course with you wherever you're going. I'm going to, along with this, also, I'm going to talk about a bit of assessment and feedback process, because there are no exams in this course. But at the same time, there is a way that you can achieve higher grades, which is going to be useful for you, like merits and distinctions when you look at taking admission to the university. Because as you know, universities like higher grades. So maybe getting a pass and then moving on to a merit or distinction would be much, much more ideal. And here the process is consultative, the approach is consultative. So the feedback that we provide is to help you try and achieve the highest possible grade.
Okay.
And what we are also going to briefly look at is, the bits on who are the key members in the team, and how the tutors and the delivery would happen. And we'll draw up a schedule which is going to be suitable for you. And I would say that would be a study plan. And then ask me plenty of questions, because this session is all about you becoming comfortable with the organization, you becoming comfortable with essentially the systems that we are going to give access to you, and you know exactly who to reach if you get stuck at any place at any point in time. I might add WhatsApp. I don't know whether you use WhatsApp in Russia, or is it the terminal app that we use?
No, we use it a lot. We use it a lot.
All right, okay. So these are the bits that I want you to go through with me in this particular session of 30-35 minutes. Now, if I switch you over to the main website screen, obviously, as you know, that we had a bit of a celebration, with the new king.
Yes, you did. Oh, yes, and I've watched. Well, I didn't watch like the entirety of the coronation, but plenty of it. And the crown didn't fit. The crown didn't fit at first. It was there was a real. Yeah.
Fix it slightly, but yeah, that's the nature of it. So what we've done is, I think the reason I started with the website is to make sure that this is probably going to be your starting point for most of the interactions, simply because from here on the website, you're able to reach us through WhatsApp, give us a quick call. This is a monitored mailbox. You get a quick response every 2 hours if you send us an email. And obviously a link which will take you to the other systems. One is Moodle, the other is YouTube in particular. And then should you wish to reach us on phone on the usual basis, then this is going to be, at the switchboard here, which is the number given on this side. Now, essentially the website, I normally ask everyone to bookmark. So you click on the lock, drag it to your bookmark bar, and that allows you to, have access to the website from where everything starts at a click of a button. Now, the other platform that you're going to have access to is Moodle, which if I click on this, it will launch the Moodle platform. And this Moodle platform is the main platform from which you're going to get the teaching and learning material. So we'll issue logins to you shortly, which will allow you to essentially get into the course, access your full course, and I'll do it as we go along. Now, the system is what you see is what you get. There is not, it's not any rocket science here.
Yeah.
I'm going to log in as the administrator for now, because I need to give you access to the system and obviously ensure that you have access to the course. So let's just have a quick bit of nosy in on your your details. So we use a CRM, HubSpot, and most of the communication that we do is primarily through the CRM. So you are able to get.
I'm familiar. I'm familiar.
So you're able to get through the emails and pretty much everything that we would normally send across to you, and we are able to see the emails being delivered and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
DR. So I know that your name on the passport is DR. So you write Alexander, or how do you write your full name?
I like to use the X for the Alexander. So it's basically the British way to spell it. So it's Alexander, XANDER, Alexander. So, but the whole thing with the passport is
that's fine. So I'll keep your username as Alex. Let's see if it accepts, because currently we have a couple of hundreds of users on the system, but it has to be a unique name. So I think it probably will not accept. So I'm going to put your first name as you spell your passport, which is Alexander, which is ALEXANDR.
Yeah. Okay, let's do the passport. The passport version.
If you want, I can do the last name for your username. Will that?
Oh yeah. Let's do the last name.
So VASEV.
Yes.
Okay. So you should get an email now from the system, which will give you a temporary password. If you click on that email, which will come in and display as IT admin.
Yeah, it's here. It's here. Yeah.
And if you click on it, it'll ask you to reset your password. And then you need to reset it in a way wherein you have 8 characters minimum, with 1 uppercase, 1 minimum lowercase, and 1 special character. That should allow you to essentially put a password in. So now you're enrolled and you should be able to see the course as well. Username is myself, and password you have kept. Okay. Good stuff. So you should be able to see the course as well now. All right. Okay. So once you've figured that out in terms of, your username and password, what we are then going to go in to do is basically go in and obviously log into Moodle. Hi.
Sorry for that. Some connection issues.
No worries, no worries. So as long as you've been able to log in, I have just briefly switched off the video because I don't want the recording file to bloat up to a gigabyte. So that's why I've just stopped the video on my side.
Okay.
Okay. because the reason is when the recording happens, the recording will, because of the video and the audio together, it'll bloat up to about a gigabyte for about a 35 minute session. Now, you're able to see my screen in terms of the Moodle right now?
Yeah, just give me a sec.
Yeah. So you should be able to see the Moodle screen essentially.
Yeah, it's loading.
Yeah.
So Moodle UK Versity, just give me a sec. I don't know, maybe the I'm sorry, maybe the connection is bad. Just give me a couple more minutes, please.
No worries.
Yeah, just wait a second. I'm gonna try to turn off the video.
Sure. Yeah, that will free up some bandwidth in any case, for the meeting to get relayed. Does it make a difference?
Yeah, well, it's still loading.
Well, let me do one thing. Let me just share the screen again, because sometimes if I refresh it from my side, that should refresh it on your end.
Oh, yes. So I'm in. I need to type in the username and the password.
That's correct, yeah.
So my username is
your last name in small letters.
Okay.
And then the password that you've kept.
Password. Yeah, the password from the letter. Just give me a second.
No worries.
Oh, yes. So I am changing the password.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm in.
Okay, that's great. So basically what you will see when you log in on your side, you will see.
Yeah, that's exactly that screen, right?
That's great. So now you will also see one, if you scroll below, you should be able to see your course, which is the course that you have now got enrolled into.
Yeah, so my course is, yeah, ATHE L7 Accredited Diploma.
Correct. Now, there is another way to get through into the course, which is basically going into the business menu on the top. And then you can also choose from that ATHE level 7 strategic management.
Oh yeah, I see.
When you get into this particular system, the course will essentially be laid out as what is called headings.
Right.
You'll see some headings which are in orange, and there are some headings faded out in gray, but generally you would see lots of units.
So it's personal development, finance for strategic managers, the orange ones.
That's correct. So what we're going to do is towards the end of this session, we're going to configure it in such a way, whichever pathway you choose, we're going to make sure those units are available to you for you to be able to access and obviously read through in the course with us. Because I will discuss this in a bit of detail when we discuss the course overview. Now, just very briefly, while you're at this and you are logged in, there are two bits that you're going to see in the system which I want to discuss today. The first part is going to be this particular part, which is the pre-enrollment section of the course, right? So we're going to be looking at the handbook. All the material that I show will come from the
Raman, I'm sorry, the connection, I just lost you.
All right, okay. So all the things that I'm going to show you today in terms of the course material or documents, they are going to all come in from the Moodle platform. So there is nothing outside the platform that I'm going to pull out. So if I just share again. Now, this part, which you see essentially here on the top, which is already opened, this part here is the part that we're going to discuss today, which is the pre-enrollment part. Is that okay? Test the speed at our end, just in case, to see how we are doing in terms of the bandwidth. So we are on a fiber here, and generally it's a 100 meg lease line that we have. So with a lot of us connected, we are probably, you need about 2 megabytes of bandwidth to be able to, get the session and obviously, join the session with us comfortably. So we are probably, as you can see, 54 and 86 as far as download and upload is concerned. So maybe if you run a quick speed test at your end to see if it is causing any delay or causing any slowness in terms of the speed, because when you switch off the video, it will free up some bandwidth at your end.
Yeah, I think it's back online.
Okay. Now we are going to discuss some of the bits which are going to be from here, things which are going to be looking at the pre-enrollment section. So we look at the course handbook, we look at Howard referencing, some of the other bits which are there. And then at some stage, when we discuss more details, we look at which units you're going to cover in the pathway that you choose for the purposes of your particular course. Now,
okay,
the system if I just show you one particular unit, when I click that particular heading, it takes me into the unit and it shows all the content which is available for study in that particular unit. Now, how is the content organized is what I want to briefly take you through. There are going to be documents which are PDF. There are documents which are recordings, which will take you to the cloud. There are Microsoft Office documents, and there are going to be documents which are predominantly sometimes, videos or images or Excel and, those kind of things. Now, when you click on any of the PDF documents, they will open up on your screen straight away. Okay.
Right.
They would open up, and if you need to download them, you can download them from the right-hand side top corner, and they should be able to. You can save it on your PC or your machine. Now, there are documents which are going to be Microsoft Office documents because the browser does not support. So what it happens is when I click on a document like this, it'll ask me to download that document straight away. It won't open it. But if you open it on your phone, because the Office is integrated in the phone, in the browser itself, it straight away will open that as an application. And when you click on any of the recordings will play what are called the audio-visual recordings, and they are recorded lectures that we keep replacing, changing, and they would essentially be audio-visual in nature.
Okay.
Now, some of these lectures tend to be between 45 minutes to an hour long, because here the lecture is actually discussing in detail what a specific learning outcome in the unit is talking. And these are, detailed lectures, because here the idea would be that we are not going through the PowerPoint slides, but we are also discussing the key concepts, the frameworks, the models, and using a lot of examples to explain how we need to get into it. Now, that is how the material would be laid out in terms of accessibility. But what are the ways in which it is flowing into the unit? So if I look at the unit here on the top, the first specific PDF document is going to be what is called a unit specification. So this is a document that we use to create presentations, to teach and deliver the material to you or the unit to you. Now, we teach and deliver them in what is called learning outcomes. We don't deliver the full unit in one go, but we deliver them as learning outcomes. So if a particular unit has 1, 2, in this case, 4 learning outcomes, there'll be 5 lectures that you will have. 5 lectures, because the 4 will cover each of the learning outcomes and its criteria. And the 5th lecture is going to be on the assignment discussion. How do we put assignment for this unit. So this will be the first document in all the units that you go to. So if I am in a particular unit, now I go to finance, for example, again, the same layout would repeat. You will start with the unit specification. The second document in all the units is always going to be the assignment brief. And this is the assignment brief that you are expected to then attempt at some stage when you have completed the unit. And this is provided by ATHE. So we have no input into it. This is the assignment which everyone will attempt at the end of the unit when they've completed the study of that unit. Now, when you look at a particular unit in any particular section, there are going to be books underneath that which are integrated. So if I look at this particular book, they are all going to be what are called standard academic books. We bought the electronic versions of it because you're doing the course with us through distance learning. All these books are going to be traditional academic books, which are recommended for the study of this particular unit. Now, in most cases, we have 2 or 3 recommended books that we have included. The reason is one book sometimes does not cover everything in terms of the content. So in some cases, we have 2, in some cases, we have 3, in some cases, even 4 or 5 books. So we bought all the books that we are able to go in and obviously look at studying for the purposes of comprehensively getting knowledge for that unit.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
And then after that, what you're going to see is there are some handouts that we have created over the years. Things like if the unit is going to ask you to develop a HR plan, then we've got a template for it that we have provided, how to develop an HR plan, which you can use and contextualize for the all purposes of doing the assignment. The UK employment guide, which is specific to UK's law, has been provided. And then after that, what you're going to see is presentations, which are of individual learning outcomes. They are labeled as LO, generally short form for learning outcome, right? And these presentations are quite worded. They cover all the indicative content which is given in the unit specification. And this is just for learning outcome 1. So we'll cover everything. We'll start off with the key terminology, look at definitions, look at key frameworks, somewhat of history and background, depending on the unit that you're studying. And then it will be followed by individual assessment criteria. The delivery is slightly directive because what we are not looking at is in the university style system, wherein the lectures will come, they'll do a lecture and they'll talk about it and then go away. But here, is we go down to the depth of discussing individual assessment criteria.
Nice. And
the presentations are quite worded because most learners, what we've seen with the experience of 8 to 10 years now, all learners essentially get 90% of the information from the presentation. They don't bother going into the books.
Yeah.
So they have been created in a way wherein it is quite detailed and they are quite, covering all the aspects what are required for you to understand. Now, should you wish to refer to a video, which is a lecture of that particular presentation, then you click on the yellow one, and that would essentially give you the lecture as well as the slides.
Okay.
You might sit back, and obviously this is a 1.5 hour lecture, but it is covering unit learning outcome 1, but also a unit overview of the unit. That is why the first lecture tends to be sometimes longer than 45 minutes to an hour. We could have a introduction to the unit as well. And this particular bit would cover audio visually the entire bit which the lecturer is discussing with regards to the unit. Now this
there are like 4 learning outcomes recorded as lectures and given as presentations also.
Correct. And in some cases, if it is difficult for us to cover, say for example, all the aspects in the presentation, then we have created some handouts like for the merit and distinction criteria. So this learning outcome 3, for example, talks about how to prepare management strategies. Now, if we need to cover some of these in a bit more detail, what we've done is we've included articles, case studies, and which are going to be useful because sometimes it's difficult to bring all the context of it into the presentation. So these are additional study material available for helping you to gain knowledge and also to solidify, say, for example, certain concepts which are required to master that learning outcome. Now, this layout is going to follow through across the unit Towards the end, we have an assignment discussion session. There's an assignment discussion session presentation. We have converted the Word assignment brief into a PowerPoint presentation so that we can discuss it easily. And it has the same activities, everything is the same as the Word document of the ATHE, but we've just converted it into a presentation for easy access. And then here we have given pointers to what you need to do. So if this is talking about 3M1, task 3M1, here I would give you guidelines to say you need to look at pestle analysis and cover that. And then obviously, it will help you cover.
Right.
So guidance given to be able to do the assignment. And then if you want to look at a sampler assignment, there is a sample assignment sometimes also available so that you can see an output of how the user has produced, work for this particular unit. And this layout will follow through in all the units that you go through. Yeah, unit specification, assignment brief, books, handouts, presentations, learning outcomes, and then followed by assignment guidance, assignment discussion. If there's a newer delivery of that session, which we have done because the content has changed, it will be separated out here. And obviously the idea would be to read the newer part of the delivery. Because sometimes we have different lecturers delivering the unit, like HRM I normally deliver, but sometimes if I've delivered it 4, 5, 6 times in a year, I'll ask one of my other colleagues who's a specialist, they will deliver HRM. And that is where we have difference of different recorded sessions and maybe some presentations as well. Is that okay? So that's all about Moodle. That's all about Moodle. It's what you see, what you get. There is nothing in terms of anything going wrong with the system. You are able to access it on the phone and on the PC, on a laptop, on a Mac, anywhere as long as you have access to the internet. Now, if you need to set it up on your phone or on your laptop, then if I log out from the system, there are 2 short videos that are on the home page. One is how to set up the Moodle and what app to download. So there is an app that you can download, which is called the Moodle app from your Google Play Store. This is a free app. There's no payment required. It is developed by the company Moodle itself. And when you download this particular app, it'll take 30 seconds for you to set it up. It'll ask you for the URL of where the Moodle is. So URL for the Moodle is lms@ukversity.co.uk. And if you know the URL and your password and username, you should be able to set it up by remembering it once. And then because the app is on your phone and you only use it, you can save the settings. So every time you touch that app, it will launch automatically and take you into Moodle. Now, the only difference is because you're setting it up on a phone, that means the real estate is small, the screen size, everything will be repurposed to a smaller screen size. But you'll have access to pretty much everything that is available through a PC or a usual laptop. Now, advantage for us, we can push notifications on a phone, and you can get alerts, reminders, because that is something enabled on the phone, which is called push notifications. So the app will use the phone notifications, and I can push an announcement to say that your assignment deadline is coming up, or if you want to see a shared calendar on Moodle to find out when your classes are, what your schedule is, or what the code of the session is, you can get all that from the Moodle app by clicking into the global calendar.
Okay.
So if I go into the global calendar very briefly, what you're able to see is on the calendar. So within your course, if I go in and I log back in, and there is an option wherein you'd be able to see the calendar, and that calendar would also show you all the options primarily, on your site. Now, one other thing that you can do is when you see your name on the top and you click on a small downward arrow, you would basically go into your profile. So you can customize your profile and how your layout is. That can be, in my case right now, I have not switched on the calendar on the homepage, but within the profile, I've switched it on. And as you can see, if I hover my mouse over the calendar, it'll show me what sessions are scheduled. Yeah. So if I click on the calendar itself, you'd be able to drop down on your course, ATHE Level 7 Diploma, and it will show you what classes are scheduled for you within that particular month. And if you need to go into, obviously it's a global calendar, shows all the courses, but you could select your course in particular and then go in and see those from that point of view as well. Now, the other bit which I'll look at very briefly on the system is maybe go in and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is UK Versity Online, youtube.com/UK Versity Online. So click on the subscribe option, and here within the playlists, if you go and choose in the playlist, strategic management, there are lots of videos that we have uploaded specifically.
What if you could do SEO smarter?
Sorry,
and faster.
specifically for strategic management. So there are in excess of 257 videos which are in the open domain, but there are over 3,000 videos that we have which you can get access to. Subscribe. Zoom you are already using. So if I effectively take you back to our discussion on the agenda that we had formed up. So UK Versity website, you've seen a bit of Moodle. Zoom we are using. I've shown you a bit of YouTube and how you could access some of the videos. You can download the Moodle app, and obviously that is all set up. And WhatsApp is something which will add you to the group, wherein the other learners who are doing the same course will be on that group. And for urgent announcements, keeping in mind everybody's privacy, we will be able to send messages, or you'll be able to send messages to us. And that is a subtle way of getting in touch with you as and when we need. Now, I'll quickly go over to the course overview now. Right, this is the course handbook that I've downloaded, which is available offline, but this is one of the first documents on your course when you get into the course. And as you can see, this qualification has 4 pathways: finance, marketing, managing people, which is HR, and international. Now, the difference is, if I go into very briefly and show you, and I scroll down to page 9 onwards, rather than extended diploma, I'll take you through, which is the one that you're doing. So if I go into the page 11 of that book, there are some core units which are going to remain the same when you do this qualification. It is not going to be any different. But if you choose a pathway, it's like a specialization. The optional units, 3 optional units that you choose, will actually change to the pathway that you're doing. But the mandatories will remain the same. So if I were to do the unendorsed, or the general pathway as we call it, this is the one which is mapped right now with most MBA and most universities which offer the MBA. So if you look at University of East London, you look at Gloucestershire, Anglia Ruskin, Northampton, Plymouth, some of the southeast universities in London, in and around London area, they have mapped this particular bit with the course. And that means advantage to you is that you get 90 credits exemption to get into MBA. So you will study another 90 credits only, maybe a dissertation and 1 module or 2 modules to be able to complete. Now, in some cases, we have seen some universities tend to be fussy. You can choose a pathway. I've had students who have done finance and have been able to go to MSc Accounting and Finance without a problem with Northampton and Anglia Ruskin. Plymouth sometimes will only give 60 credits off. So you'll have to do 120 credits with them. And that would mean you have a longer duration in terms of top up and maybe slightly higher fees. That's the only drawback. But all universities, there are about 44 universities which will accept this towards an MBA course. Now, if you choose, for example, finance, as you can see, these units will be finance pathway, but you have to choose 3 because we are looking at 120 credits. So 75 credits are going to come from the core units, 15 each. And then you are
plus 60 from the 45, I guess.
45 from the optional.
So
this is something that you can look at maybe later today or over the weekend after the session. Decide and let us know, and we can amend your registration with ATHE. Because if I show you a qualification diploma, which I will do, you would see that it will mention the word in brackets. You have done ATHE level 7 extended diploma in strategic management, and it will say the pathway, like you've done it in finance or marketing or whatever. So it will be a specialization. In marketing, obviously, the units are only 3, and you have to do these 3: strategic marketing, international marketing, and corporate communication strategy. So if you feel that this is more relevant to you, I would suggest moving into the marketing pathway. And that would mean when you choose your MBA, you're going to go towards a global MBA with any of the universities, because that will be more international and international digital side and marketing led. So this bit
Okay, yeah. I think that's the correct pathway. I've been looking into the international MBAs, and I'm suggesting that's the right way. I know it's it's probably a bit high within the fees, but it's worth it. I think it's worth it.
I think this is where you're looking at obviously doing this career for your course for your career. So if you feel that this is the way that you want to go forward, obviously become an expert in this field, then this will be useful for you to look at choosing that particular specialist pathway in the ATHE program as well. Now, in terms of the course handbook, obviously it gives you a bit of a background on ATHE. It tells you about the eligibility criteria, the course, the progression leads to an MBA. It has got a basic bit of information that I would suggest that you can read through to familiarize yourself with the awarding body, the qualification, and obviously the pathways. Now, second part of the handbook, if I just scroll beyond certain pages, is already something that we have extracted out and individually uploaded into the units. So what you see,
I see.
this is the unit specification. So what we've done is we've taken out these 3 pages and they are uploaded in strategic planning. Then we go to the next one, it's been uploaded there. So up to, I would say, page 19 is the actual part of the course handbook that you need to read. And that will give you some background into the awarding body, the qualification, the grading criteria, and obviously the pathways. Now, this qualification is graded, so you can look at pass, merit, and distinction. There is a bit of a clinical criteria behind it. It is not subject to that you're my favorite student or she is my favorite student, I can give merit or distinction. I think it's going to be a case where it's based on a point-based system. And how the point-based system works is when you look at any unit spec, each of the tasks which you see in the assignment associated with the AC or assessment criteria is roughly 5 points. So if you do all the passes in the unit,
okay, I get it.
You're looking at 45 points. That is where your unit will essentially have a pass grade. But if you do passes plus the merit, which will take you to 55 and over, that will be taking your unit grade to merit. And if you do everything in terms of all the assessment criteria and achieve it, you're going to go towards distinction.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, Roman, just a quick question. But the examples of the learning outcomes and the assessment criteria in the course, they are made with distinction, right? So I'll have the example laying around somewhere, just how to do the distinction one. Because I really want to try it.
No, that's absolutely fine. And I think that is what we are going to push you to go in and achieve.
Right.
So when you look at the assignment briefs, which I'll bring up for one particular unit, what you're going to be seeing in the assignment brief is that the assignment brief actually provides all the assessment criteria for you to be able to attempt.
Right.
And this is an assignment brief in front of you for the unit, which is organization behavior, one of the mandatory units. You would see that this assignment is broken down into tasks. So the tasks are number equivalent to the number of learning outcomes. So most units in ATHE have 4 learning outcomes. So generally in the assignment brief, you'll have 4 tasks, right? Task 2, and they will cover, all the assessment criteria. So pass activities are normally given up front, and then the extension activities are given up as what are called merit and distinction opportunities. Because sometimes learners, they are very clear that I want to achieve a pass and they don't want to spend any time in doing the additional activity.
Right.
They are labeled separately. But when you look at the sampler assignments that we would, have for each of the unit, what you're also going to be able to see is that these assignments, we provide a mix in terms of, what you can look at or what type of unit you're looking at, but they would essentially cover in detail and give you an example of how to achieve, say, for example, a distinction or a merit in that particular unit.
Yeah,
so if I share that with you, this is maybe one of the sample assignments that we have uploaded on the Moodle, which will be available in each of the units, different units. Like, so if this is personal development, and it'll be specific to that. If you look at strategic planning, specific to that. This assignment is anonymized and is produced by a learner, and obviously would cover, as you can see from the table of content, you'll be able to make out that it covers all the criteria, pass, merit, and distinction, and is given for you to be able to see as a sample that if you were to produce this as an output, what would be required to try and achieve distinction as a grade. Now, obviously, we can't, generally say this very openly, but the idea is some of us are back to school now after 10, 15 years. So, the idea is they want to see what is to be done, how it's to be done. And sometimes looking at these things helps. Not that you're going to look at it and use the same bit, but it'll give you a very good idea in terms of how they have to be attempted and, what can be done to achieve the assignments in a way wherein you achieve the grade. Now, while I'm at it, very briefly, what I also want to do is show you, say, for example, a bit of feedback in terms of how, when you submit the assignment to us, how the feedback is provided on the assignment by the assessors. And the reason I say that is because, generally speaking, when you achieve the unit and you basically look at submitting the assignment, you study the unit, you look at submitting the assignment, what will happen at that stage would be one of the assessors who's taught that unit or tutor who has taught that unit will actually go in and mark that unit for you, right?
Okay.
That unit, when it is marked, is going to be then providing some comments to say why you've achieved or how you've achieved this. This is a confirmation that you will get for each of the units that you complete. It'll be signed off by the assessor. And if there are bits and pieces missing, so it'll say, for example, in this case, it says that the assignment is pending pass subject to completion of task 3.3. So you should be able to go back and quickly see what is missing. So 3.3 is the role of evaluation of relationship marketing in basis customer behavior, and that has not been attempted, right? Now, in addition to this, what you'll have is a document, which will be the document that you have produced. So this is signed off by the lecturer. I've shown you something which has just come in today. And I will show you the corresponding document which the learner submitted for this particular assignment. So as you can see, we do some annotation on the right-hand side.
All right, right.
So you're clearly able to see what we are mentioning and why you have not achieved. So the idea is here, we have not said you have not achieved, we have said you need to do this to be able to achieve this particular task. And this kind of a feedback will be there across the assignment. So in this case, this learner, if I just briefly for a minute, share my full screen. So in this case, the learner has actually submitted each of the tasks of the assignment individually. So this is task 4, which has been assessed as pass, as you can see. There is task 5 as well. So in the marketing assignment, there are 5 tasks, and she's done each of these tasks as individual documents and has achieved it. But only task 3 was not achieved. And that is where the summative sheet, which is the decision and the grading sheet, is provided to say that this is what you have not managed to achieve, rest everything is
right.
And can you submit this bit back, and that should allow you to then complete this unit. Now, when we sent the feedback to her in the morning, she took a couple of minutes or an hour, and then she sent it back to say that now I've done the bit that you've asked me to elaborate, and this bit she has elaborated here, as you can see. Role of relationship, consumer behavior, right? Now, ideally, what we recommend the students to do is when they add something basis our feedback, we ask them to highlight it as yellow, so that it's quicker and easier for me to basically recognize that, okay, now that you're
that's new.
Make sure that you passed it. So it is easier for us to assess and easier for us to mark, and that's why we ask you to highlight this in yellow. Now, once you have done the assignment and this working document goes back and forth between the tutor and the assessor and the student, and the reason why we do this is because we want to make sure that you are able to complete the unit, and obviously then move on to the next unit for the purposes of your study. So the assessment feedback process, when you do, basically tends to be that, if you send me a document and I do some commenting on it, you will use the same document, make some changes, highlight it in yellow, send it back. It's like a working document between the tutor and the student. And that Once it is finalized, you get it back for your records. And along with that, you get a front cover sheet, which will mention very clearly why you achieved this particular unit.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Now, the other bit that we look at very briefly is where do you submit your assignments? Now, there is a way that you can submit the assignments on Moodle. And in some units, what we've done is we've enabled the submission links. But I would recommend that when you submit the assignment for the first time, you submit this assignment to an email address, because that gives us an opportunity to feedback to you rather than directly then submitting it there, because that then becomes accessible to ATHE. And they will then straight away look at it and they'll say, okay, no, that is failed. So the external examiner can look at it. So your submission of assignments will happen to this mailbox, which is called learner work. And when you send an email or when you send an assignment, you get an auto acknowledgement. So the email does not get lost and you get a response within 3 to 5 working days as far as the feedback is concerned.
Okay.
Now, last but not the least, if I look at, so any questions on what we've discussed so far?
No, I mean, there will be after I guess first assignment, because there is always, there is always the thing about the tone, the right structure, all the things combined. But yeah, it sounds legit. I mean, it sounds understandable.
Good stuff. Now, just to briefly show you, how does your diploma look like when it is issued? ATHE obviously issues this, and as you can see, if in this case he has done the journal pathway and he's achieved a distinction grade, so it's a 2-page transcript. One, obviously the diploma award, and the second page tends to be the transcript. So the units that he has done and obviously what grades he has achieved. Now, you don't need to achieve merits in all the units or distinction in all the units, simply because of the fact that if 5 out of 8 units are merit, your overall grade would tip to merit, because it's following a point-based system. If you have 5 units with distinction and the rest with merit or pass, your overall grade would tip over to distinction. And that would mean, you'll have an overall award in terms of distinction. So it's a 2-page transcript, which obviously will have your name, the grade, and obviously your registration number, the qualification number, and obviously when you have completed it. This is what we will then provide to the university, who would then assess it along with your other qualifications and then give you admission towards the MBA top-up. Okay. Good stuff. Now, very briefly, looking at a couple of quick other things. So there are a couple of tutors on this particular course. One is we've got Shazia Khan, we've got Zafar Iqbal, myself, and then there is Yasser Golfaraz. So when you look at the tutors, and then we have also Anjum Sattar. Now, most of the tutors, when you look at, they are going to be teaching units that we have been teaching for 15 years or over. So they are not going to teach all the units. They're going to teach you the specialist units, which they are specialist in. So if I look at Anjum, he will teach the finance unit. If I have another colleague called Sanjay Sinha, and then Reena. Now, she or Sanjay would teach the research unit, which is research. Yasir would probably teach you the HRM unit. I would do the strategic management and leadership unit. Zafar would do, for example, so he would do also the strategic marketing unit. And if you are looking at the marketing pathway, for example, international marketing is something which, Zafar would do. And then if I look at corporate communication, she would be looking at teaching the unit. So there are different lecturers doing different, units as far as your course is concerned. But you will probably have 3 lecturers minimum who are going to be teaching the course to you. So it's not a case of just one lecturer teaching all the units. It will be a case of 2 or 3 lecturers that you will generally see. Now, some of them, if you want to, obviously you're going to get to meet them, but a lot of us are on the website. So obviously, if you need to get to know them in terms of their qualification, all of them have masters, all of them are having a PGC or a postgraduate diploma in teaching. Some of us are double masters. and also working towards a research.
Nice.
So you're in good hands as far as the lecturers are concerned.
Yeah.
And we teach in different places. So we teach in universities, FE colleges, and obviously those are all, for level 7. So all of us are masters qualified, and that's why we are being able to teach this qualification.
Okay.
In terms of the administrative team, I think there is 2 people in general which will be in touch quite often. One is Jill. She is essentially the course coordinator, and you would probably get most of the emails for Zoom sessions and schedulings that we do, the units which are happening. She would probably be doing some coordination. And then you have one of my other colleagues in administration, Amrita, and she's the registrar. So she's the one who would basically coordinate your assessments with the tutors. She will also look after your certification process, anything to do with academic, reference, and obviously follow up till the university. I have a colleague of mine called Philip, who is basically the quality manager, and he sometimes comes in and sits quietly in the sessions because he does observations. So he does teaching observations. He's the quality manager. He signs off your grades, agrees with the tutors in terms of the grades. And obviously, he is also one of the key persons. Sometimes you might have an interaction with him.
Okay.
Now, if you have to write to anybody in UK Versity, it is just the first name followed by UK Versity. It's that simple, right? So if you need to write to Anjum at UK Versity, Yasir at UK Versity, Reena at UK Versity, Raman at UK Versity, Safar at UK Versity. So it is very simple. You'll not have a problem remembering this. However, there are 2 emails in particular that you're going to use quite often. And this is because these mailboxes are shared between tutors. And obviously the idea is to have a 2-hour response time. So if you're in the middle of the night and you're studying something and you send a response that I need some bit more information on this, you'll get a guaranteed response in 2 hours. One of those email box is going to be learner work, which is where you submit assignments and which is where you ask questions about any unit, any areas that you get stuck. And the other is going to be coordinator. The reason I say coordinator is because of the fact that this is again a mailbox in which you're going to get guaranteed response in a couple of seconds. This is accessed by Jill, Amrita, and there's another colleague called Harjinder and Victor. So they will access this mailbox and ensure that if it is related to you're not getting a book or a presentation you're not able to download, or if you have an issue with, say, for example, not being able to join a session, you don't have a code. If you send anything across here, you'll get a quick response straight away. And if you have anything related to subject, subject related, which is tutor related or lecture related, then this is the mailbox to write to. So if you send an email now, it'll probably ping across a couple of people. And if it is related to HR or finance or marketing, somebody who's responsible for that will pick it up and answer to you in a couple of minutes. And you'll not be waiting for a response. Now, along with this, if there are any issues in IT, for example, related to Moodle, right? I have my colleague Victor, and he basically would be your contact if you need anything related to getting stuck with password or anything in terms of the Moodle, essentially. And he is your link pin as far as the person is concerned. Now, apart from this, I think the other bit that I would mention is you'll probably be added to the WhatsApp number of UK Versity and the group. That number, don't be surprised when we add you to the group that you got added, but it is primarily to ensure that you are able to get the important announcements and obviously be a part of the group in terms of the things that you're doing. And that's the number. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Now, what we also do when we look at a study plan, the idea is to normally start, certain units, which I would say are theoretical units. Right? One of the first units that you're looking at is SHRM, Strategic Human Resource Management. This is a theoretical unit primarily, but there are bits and pieces wherein you would need to probably do create a plan or write something or demonstrate something. But most of the unit is predominantly theoretical. And then we will also start what is called the research project. Here it is called strategic research for managers. Now,
Right.
research as a process, as a project remains the same as a module. And we have research in all the qualifications. So sometimes what we do is we also club the sessions with some of the other learners who are also doing the research module. So here the idea would be to try and go through the research side of things, but it will cover pretty much the same aspects of what is a research project. When you look at doing a research project, it includes things like introduction, literature review. It'll have your research methodology. It'll have things like data collection, findings, methodology related to research onion, conclusions. So research, whichever way we do it, remains the same. And the idea is, in some cases, you might be added to sessions which are common across level 7 of Pearson, OTHM, or ATHE, and they are studying the same unit. And it gives you an idea to interact, network, and obviously also get to meet some of the other learners which are doing a similar program,
Nice.
but with a different awarding organization.
Okay.
Apart from this, what I will want to do is ask you one or two quick questions. So what are the ideal days and times for you to do sessions?
Well, I guess it's the weekends. So it's Saturdays and Sundays.
All right.
I think I can do I can do basically every day in the evening. So I'm GMT +3, so it's UK time 5-6 p.m.
Okay, so we normally, if I look at Saturdays and Sundays, we do sessions at 10 a.m. in the morning, which will be roughly, I think, 1 p.m. your time.
Right.
Right, you're 3 hours ahead of us, isn't it? So as of now, it is 4:30 at my end. That would mean that you are at 7:30 at your end.
Right. So it's the full day.
Is it 7:30 at your end?
Yeah, it's no, it's 6:30.
6:30, yeah. So basically, because of daylight saving, I think the difference is 2 hours.
Oh yeah, probably.
So if we do a session at 10 a.m. UK time, which is what normally we do for strategic management, I think that'll be half 12 at your end. Or 12 at your end, sorry, 2 hours. So 10 a.m. UK time will be, say, 12 in the noon at Moscow. Right? And if I look at 2 p.m. UK time, that'll be 4 p.m. In your time zone. Yeah. So we will look at weekend lectures for you. Definitely, that's fine. And in terms of the schedule, we normally would send out a schedule for 1 unit. That means you'll probably get 5 invites, for the Zoom, and that will cover learning outcome 1 on a date, then 2, the next weekend, 2, 3, and 4. The next weekend, it'll be learning outcome 5, or if there's an assignment discussion session. So that's how we will cover the unit. So we'll cover probably 1 unit in about, I would say, 3 to 4 weeks. And then once we complete 1 unit, we give a break of 2 weeks so that you have enough time to be able to write the assignment for that unit.
Yeah, sounds fine.
Okay.
I think that's great.
Good stuff. Any questions at your end apart from this? So I've covered pretty much everything that I wanted to, discuss with you in the induction.
Yeah, well, I need to, swallow it. I need to swallow it. Yeah. I need to process it, and I'll get back to you in a couple of days. But at first look, I get everything. Like the Moodle is the main board, like it's the main program where I need to have all the courses and all the assignments. Then I'll have like tutors, and I have that email where I need to send the assignments. And if I have any kind of questions, I can contact you on email or WhatsApp. So basically that's that.
Absolutely correct. So that's perfectly well understood at your end.
Cheers.
Let's put it this way. So let me just quickly share back the camera. So I think the course induction is basically intended to give you the confidence to be able to understand
Great.
how things will work. And I think what I'll do is follow this up with a bit of a recording of the
Right.
presentation so that you have it with you at your end to be able to go through. And then if there are any further queries, drop me an email. I'm pretty quick, in responding to it. So should be able to, come back to you pretty much almost, straight away.
Thank you so much for this. I'm hoping for the best. I think I can do it really good, and I'll see you again. I'll see you again soon.
Yeah,
See you
definitely.
again.
That's great.
Cheers.
Thanks, Alex.
Cheers.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
See ya. Take care. Bye for
Bye. Take care. Bye.